Hello everyone, welcome once again to Train Simulator 2015. Going to do something a little bit different. We're going to make another run. I'm going to do some commentary on it. This is the 844 Overland with the silver and gray, or the silver and yellow. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this and the 16 cars that we took over Sherman Hill. We're going to take them over the Horseshoe Curve. And we've got the Overland liveries that you can download from RailSim or Rail Simulator. Nice looking cars, they kind of go well with it. I just wish they had the yellow stripe on them, but that's okay. So yeah, what we're going to do, I'm going to hop into the cab here, start getting everything ready. Get that pop the seat. Open this up. We're going to go ahead and open the damper. Turn on our control valve. Crack the blower just a bit. And then turn on the tank heat, because as you can tell it's snowing outside. Which I don't know if it's snowing up in Altoona at this time of year or not. I don't think they've got any snow lately. Open up everything, the dynamo, the feed water stuff. We'll open the atomizer up just a bit. Open up the windows so we can freeze. We'll leave the vents closed. Keep the doors. Now this run is fairly straightforward. The Horseshoe Curve is not, the curve itself is not bad, I should say. Now the grade after the curve is a monster. I think, yeah, it's everything over on this side. Let's go over here. Go ahead and take these off since we're not going to be using them. So we did open the dynamo, so we can go ahead and turn on the lights. Open our window, but the Horseshoe Curve itself is only about a 1.2 or something like that. What gets you in the curve is it's a curve. Trains tend to bind up in curves. Get a little bit of brake on there. And, well, we'll leave that for right now. And trains bind up, especially if you're on the brakes. You know, a car will get bound up in a curve and not want to pull through it. So that's where a lot of the work comes from. Headlight, come out here, we're going to be an extra again. Got everything on it, we're going to run the 844 like I said. Open up the defroster is for this window, as I mentioned in the other video. You see how it's kind of fogged up. Just clean that up. We're actually going to go ahead and open it. Well, no, we'll leave it closed. So we'll go ahead and open that for the cylinder cocks, and then for the master. Go ahead and open this back up. We've got the tank heat going. Let's check the glasses real quick. That's good. That's good. Air pump is on. And I think that's everything. I don't have my checklist with me, but pretty sure that's everything. So let's go ahead and get going. Two toots. And we'll put the reverser into the corner. We are not going to use sand. We're going to need a little bit of oil. Some atomizer. Set that around right there. In the corner. And go ahead and chest fill up a little bit. We're going to knock off the independent. Knock off the automatic. One thing that he modeled with this engine is that track adhesion is lower in inclement weather. Like right now is probably the worst that you can get. Snow is probably the least adhesion you're going to get on the rail. So we took off without sand, and that is just a little bit under 0.5% grade. Go ahead and close the cylinder cocks. Close the throttle before we slip. Back on the reverser a bit, and you want to run between 25 and 30 on this particular grade. A little more atomizer. I don't want to monkey around with the oil too much. This turns up in a hurry. We're already on a 1.1. 1.1% grade is pretty steep. There goes the pop. A little bit more. Hear the pop coming back. Gray. Cut back on the speed some. Yep, we're over. Not quite. I'm going to keep it around 30, and there's good reason for that. If you get it up to 35, there's a speed restriction. You come into a 30 mile an hour just before you enter the curve. And I don't want to get up too fast and then have to waste all of my momentum slowing down for the speed restriction. So that's why we're going to try and keep it around 30 if it'll behave. Looks fine. 32 is fine. I'm trying not to waste any more steam than I have to. So last night I sat down and made up a consist that was very similar to the one that the 765 took over earlier this year. Or I'm sorry, earlier last year. And didn't do too good. I tested it just to see what it was going to do, and once it got into the curve, it was all it wanted. We ended up stalling out. Part of that is because I didn't run the MUs at all. They had to use the diesel to help them get up to speed, and I didn't want to do it. Should be about 30 by now. A little bit under. A little bit more. About 20. between 25 and 30, I'll be happy. Now, if you were wondering where the curve is, it's this one right here. This is the Horseshoe Curve. I couldn't tell you why they call it that. I'm kidding. Not much. We're getting ready to start working here in just a second. Already on the 1.9. Let's go a little more into the corner. Check the water. I know we haven't run off that much. Now typically you would, in a situation like this where both glasses were stopped up, you would stop. You'd actually stop the train and figure out what the problem was. We're going to keep going. I've got a pretty good guesstimation of how much water I've got. I know I'm above a half glass. Yep, right at a half. Pressure's sticking, coming up on the fire. I don't know if you can tell it, but that needle is just kind of bouncing back and forth. Go a little bit more. Cut back on the reverser a bit. Go ahead and start running the water all the way on. Not quite there yet. I want to hold about 30. A little bit more atomizer to clear the stack. A bit. And some sand. Here it's cooling off, so well, I think we'll be alright. .9, we got a little bit more. Kind of holding. Let's see. Yeah, we're picking up. A lot of flange squeal, a lot of flange squeal. Alright, this is the last curve before we go into it. And again, we slowed down a little bit going through that curve. That's just the train binding up. We're still on the 1.9. Here we go. Now the the next signal stand is where the speed restriction starts. So that's the start of the 30 mile an hour. I'm going to get up a little bit more speed just to get over this little bit. I don't want to go too much. The 30 mile an hour starts like right here. Come back under reverse just a bit. You can actually drop the fire down just a touch. We'll leave the atomizer alone. Let's go ahead and make sure everything's set up to go over. We'll blow down all the glasses. Go ahead and put the tank heat back a bit. Because once we get over it, we don't have a whole lot of time where we can sit there and monkey with everything. Come back on the reverser, about 20. And then this curve right up here ahead of us, that's the entrance. Back some more. 1.3, and there's our 30 mile an hour restriction. Pretty good. I was trying to get where you could see the elevation difference, which is the reason why they made this curve the way it is. The elevation difference between this side and that side, you couldn't bridge it straight across to elevate, it would be too steep. So we're holding 30. And 1.3 through here. And like I said before, the curve itself is not terrible. It's once we get out of it, which we're exiting it right now, it's this stretch in here, all the way up to the tunnels, which are right over here. So let me make sure I'm lined for them. Maybe you hear the engine squatting down. Up. Straight in. Hopefully get it before we get stalled. It'll be alright. There you see we're down to 25. Come on up with it. So there's a 1.8. And we're still under a 30 mile an hour restriction. Now there's a couple of indications that we haven't exhausted all of our horsepower because we're able to pop off. And horsepower is rated by your boiler. Your torque is regulated by your engine. You know, we can pull it as far as the tractive effort's going to let us go. But once you've used the torque to get yourself started, the horsepower is what you need to maintain it. So the simple way of thinking about it is torque is what gets you rolling. Horsepower is the ability to stay in motion. And we've got plenty of horsepower, but you can have more horsepower than you've got torque. And you know, if you could run flat out, that's one thing, but we can't. We have to stay under 30. We're picking it back up here. We leveled out just a bit. Back. Drop this down just a bit. See what the water level is. Figure it stopped up. It's rare that I have both glasses stop up like that, but every now and then it does happen. We should be about a little bit over 2/3 the glass. Yep, just slightly over 2/3. Well, I'm not going to leave. I'm not going to do that. I'll let it run. And we're doing pretty good. If anything, the smoke's a little black. And like I said in the other video, we can just pump the atomizer up, and that'll help clear that up a little bit. That's still not doing it. We'll just hit some sand. And that put it about where we want it. .27 on a 1.8. You can do the disco thing and throw the Mars light on. Mars lights are actually kind of cool. I don't know why they decided to put red ones on this one. Like I mentioned in the other video, they only use these for emergency. Usually, if you look at the one on the daylight, they're white bulbs. So, I mean, it's the ditch. I mean, the Mars light with the predecessor, the ditch light. That's why they oscillate out to the sides, is they're looking over on the side of the track. Just a bit. Where are we? Why I've got a yellow. I've got a switch up here that's against me somewhere. Right. Right, that one's right. That one. See what it is when we get to it. You know, this is another thing. You can do that with a reverser. One of the things that I noticed is that the steam chest tends to fill up fairly quickly on this engine. It's a little bit quicker than I think most of them would have done on the road. I mean, it's fine. Usually you have a little bit more control over your throttle at low speeds. But I mean, it's fine. will go wherever it tells us to stop. We're down below 30, so we're in compliance with the signal. I still have not figured out. We should get a red here, which I haven't figured that out why. Should be able to go straight through. Anyway, we'll just go to wherever it tells us to stop. We'll let it come on down to about 20. We're going to have to stop right here. Before we get there, though, let's see the signal in the distance. Not yet. Fire. That's our signal. Close the throttle. It's not going to take much. 10 pounds or so. Once we get stopped, then we'll throw the independent on. And that's it. That's almost like I intended to do it. That signal kind of snuck up on me. I wasn't expecting it, but that's actually a good stop. Now, getting this thing started, I don't think I could. I probably could, but I'm not gonna. So, yeah, that's not 765. Good Lord, that is the 844 going up Horseshoe Curve, and pretty much the same. It's about a 1.7 or so until we get on the other side of the tunnels, and then it's downhill. So we've got one more run that I'm going to make, and that is the run from San Bernardino to Barstow with this same train. Now that's a 3% grade, so that's going to be a little interesting. I've only been able to go over it with a 14-car intermodal train, so that one could be fun. So anyway, I'm going to cut it off here. So thanks again, guys.